Hi, and welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm Selectman Sean Askham, filling in for Deputy Selectman Nancy Haase today. And I'm really excited to be joined once again by Selectman Cheryl Cook, Selectman Mike Payne, and our great guest today, Ed LaMontagne. Ed's the Executive Director of the Housing Authority and the Chair of the Aging and Disability Commission. And so Ed, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So Ed's going to fill us in on a lot of exciting things we've got coming up with the Housing Authority and all the hard work you folks do on the Aging and Disability Commission. So why don't you start us off with the Housing Authority?
Okay. Well, the Housing Authority for the town of Simsbury provides 110 units of affordable housing. We have two properties. The first property is the Dr. Owen L. Murphy Apartments. We have 70 apartments, and those are for individuals who are seniors, age 62 and older, and also for individuals who are on disability, Social Security disability. Those consist of 21 one-bedroom apartments and 49 efficiency apartments. Our other property is the Virginia Connolly residence, and that has 40 units, and those are for 62 and older, individuals who are 62 years of age and older. Those are also assisted living, and what that means is that we do provide full 24-hour security. We do one meal a day, which is a lunch meal. We also have housekeepers that come in 3 days a week and provide light housekeeping for the residents. We also provide some social recreational programs. And then we contract out with Hebrew Healthcare, and they provide assisted living to those residents that need it and qualify for it. And that consists of a variety of different medical needs. There's 4 different levels of service that can be provided by the nursing staff.
And the assisted living facility is unique in Connecticut. There's only 13 congregate facilities in the state.
That's correct.
Supported by.
And we do get funds. We receive funds from the state of Connecticut in order to support that. So, well, a lot of people think that our revenues come strictly from the rental income. Rental income is only a small percentage of our total budget, and the majority of our funds do come from the state of Connecticut Department of Housing and Department of Social Services.
So you've certainly got your hands full down there managing that process with the state, I'm sure.
Yes, but nonetheless, it's fun. It's rewarding. We think that by virtue of providing the affordable housing, there's not that much affordable housing in the town of Simsbury.
No, there's not.
So we do provide a need. We have a waiting list, actually, at this point for both of our properties. More so for the Murphy Apartments, less for the Virginia Connolly. However, we do have a pretty active marketing campaign. We are members of the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce, and we do attend their other events. So we do go out, we market our facility. It's also beneficial to be across from Neckers. Everybody knows where Neckers is.
Right.
So whenever we have to tell everybody we're in the north end of town, we're across from Neckers, everybody seems to know exactly where that is.
That's exactly right.
And I have to say, I hear from the residents all the time, both in my capacity as a selectman and as a commissioner for the Housing Authority. And I have never talked to anybody who was unhappy with the services provided there. Everybody always compliments us on the services provided and the level of activities. You should see the activity calendar that comes out every month for things that go on at Virginia Connolly, for instance. They have yoga and cards and music, and there's so many different things going on. And many of the residents participate in activities here in town.
Right.
Which is also great.
The Dial-A-Ride does provide service out to the Housing Authority, and they're 2 times a day at least, for not only for Murphy, but also for Virginia Connolly.
Right.
So the residents certainly avail themselves to that service, which is beneficial. And of course, I have to put in a plug for the staff. We only have 5 full-time staff people.
It's amazing.
And
That is amazing.
Christine is our housing administrator. She does a great job. She's the one that accepts the applications, follows up on the applications, makes contact with the potential residents, comes in, does tours. Nancy Britton is our residential service coordinator. She's the one that provides the activities, but she also provides valuable assistance not only to the residents but to their families with regard to all the entitlements
Right.
that are available to the residents. My chef, Mike, does a great job.
Oh, and I can tell you, the lunches that you get
Yeah.
at the Virginia
He does
Connolly are
he
really
does a
something.
really good job. He graduated from the
Yep.
he graduated from the Culinary Institute.
He's
Also
amazing.
brought that experience with him to the Housing Authority.
Yep.
And he does a real good job. And then we have our maintenance staff, Kent and Brian. Brian's a part-time, Kent full-time maintenance staff. And of course, so we have our wait staff that provides the assistance during the lunchtime, which is provided 7 days a week.
So you've obviously got a lot going on up there. So what changes have you seen over the years as you've been the executive director?
We've actually seen more of an influx of applications from young disabled for the Murphy Apartments. We're starting to receive applications from veterans that are coming back that may be disabled and then therefore qualify for the Murphy Apartments.
Okay.
Even though that is for 62 and older, I think right now what we're having is we are seeing that influx of the younger disabled that are coming into the facility.
All right. So if somebody wants to inquire about the property, how do they do that? How do they get on the list?
They
What
can
steps they-
certainly call us at
Okay.
the Housing Authority.
There's a website.
There is, and we're also, we have brochures that we send out to folks. We advertise in our contact information, Yankee Flyer, we advertise every week.
Okay.
So there's good contact information on that. And they could call Mickey Social Services as well.
Everybody knows how to get in touch with Mickey. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's great, Ed. You gave me a tour a couple of years ago, and it was just amazing to see the facility and all the great folks. I got to meet a couple of the residents,
Right.
and it was really a great experience. A lot of great folks up there, so I enjoyed it.
And they're fun. I think we have quite a few of the residents are in their 90s. We have 4 World War II veterans
We do.
that were, in fact, they were in the parade, Memorial Day parade.
were.
Or
Yeah.
one of the cars, and
fantastic.
they enjoyed that.
Yep.
On Veterans Day, we bring them down to the senior center so they can participate in the activities. So they're real interesting people to talk to, and we have the majority, like I said, are probably between in their high 80s and low 90s. So they're interesting folks to sit down and talk to.
Okay. And I should mention that Cheryl got her start on the Housing Authority, obviously working with you, and then
did.
we snagged her for the Board of Selectmen, and we're very happy that she joined us there. And obviously, as most folks have heard at this point, Cheryl's running for state rep in Simsbury, so we're excited to have her embark on that campaign. Although we will miss you on the Board of Selectmen when you are elected for state rep, but we wish you the best in that. So,
Thank you.
that,
And I'm going to miss being on the Housing Authority.
well, you can advocate at the state level, which will
Which
be
I do,
which will be
yes.
a great thing, yeah, which you do already. So that's wonderful.
Which I do.
So let's switch gears. Obviously, the other half of what we want to talk about today is your role in the aging and disability. And you folks have a lot going on there. You have, I think, the largest volunteer commission from the town government side.
Correct.
13,
20.
20. We're up
Yeah,
to 20.
it's big now.
And we have a veterans coordinator from the
Liaison.
town now that was recently, or liaison
Correct.
that was recently appointed as well. So talk to us a little bit about that role.
Well, actually, I've been on the Aging Disability Commission now for 19 years.
Okay.
Chairman for at least 9 years. And it is the largest. When it started out, there's actually 12 full members. We have 4 alternates, but we also have the student liaison. It's something that I started several years ago and contacted Neil Sullivan up at the high school, and because we started looking at intergenerational programs that we could do. So he was able to get a student to be liaison to our commission from the high school, and they've done a really nice job of being able to coordinate some activities and also be that conduit between the commission and the high school.
Okay.
As you mentioned, we have the Veterans Liaison, which was recently appointed, and they provide a valuable service because, as you know, veterans coming back from the wars in Afghanistan and even prior to that in Iraq are coming back with needs, whether they be housing needs and social service needs. So we thought that the Aging Disability Commission would be a good aspect for us to work with the veterans, and so the liaison works really well with us. Kathy Marshall, as the head of the senior centers, also plays an important part for us on that. And as you all know, is that we're in the process of looking for a new site, perhaps for a new senior center, which is the hope of many
We could be in that
seniors.
site for all.
And
There's
That's
been
right.
some lively discussion
So
at
there-
the
there
Aging and
has,
Disability
there
Commission.
has. And,
So
we look
what's
forward
the
to that.
feeling? What I mean, what are you hearing from the
You know,
folks?
it's across the gamut,
Yeah.
and as many opinions as there are in the general community, there
Mhm.
are on the Aging Disability Commission. So I think people realize or recognize that while this is a great building, that is certainly at this point in time does not meet the needs of the seniors, and additionally. There are some accessibility issues.
Yep.
The commission just did an ADA survey of the town buildings and came up with a list of areas that do not meet the law of the ADA.
Mm.
Unfortunately, with this building, being a historically preserved building, there are only certain things you can do.
Right.
And because it's a historically preserved building, it doesn't necessarily need to meet all the requirements of the ADA.
Mhm.
So that's one of the issues that we're looking at and we're investigating. And I'm going to speak for myself versus the commission, because as I said, we have varying opinions.
Yep.
I think, from my perspective, a new senior center would be the best way to go.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about location because that's just a whole other whole
We could be
different
here
area.
for several hours.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Right.
People are going to start calling in.
That would actually be interesting if we added that.
Yeah.
It's a really important discussion, and you guys had it at the Board of Selectmen. Obviously, I was at my brother-in-law's West Point graduation that evening, so I was not able to attend. But it's something we've all been plugged into for several years now, right? And there seems to be a fair amount of frustration about process, and unfortunately, in government, process sometimes takes a lot longer than everybody wants it to. But I know that all 6 of us on the Board of Selectmen, both Republicans and Democrats, are working towards the right solution. And the challenge with the problem, or an issue as large as this, is you've got fiscal, and then you've got needs, right? And the needs are very clear, right? We all know that this elevator is hard to work with here. We all know that it's not very accessible, and there are significant limitations to this building. But then we've got that $6 or $8 or $7 or whatever $1 million price tag, and if we all of a sudden raise all the seniors' taxes, do we have any seniors in town that can go to the senior center? That's we need to balance that as we evaluate.
That's just what it is. It is a balance, and it's our seniors, much like our veterans and everything else, deserve our best, but we have to be able to give it to them, but also, frankly, be fair to the rest of the citizens in town. And finding that balance, I mean, as the new guy, one of the 2 new people on the Board of Selectmen.
Guys aren't so new anymore.
Yeah, I know. That the budget process and the CIP, which is the capital improvement plan, actually has a 5-year window. So even if you're plugged in at year 1, it still takes 5 years to go through the process to move an item up and plan for it, which, for the budget of the town and everything, we should be planning stuff. We should not be just reacting. And I was amazed with all of the process we have to go through to put stuff in and plan for stuff, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a complicated issue and probably one of our top, if not the top priority on the Board of Selectmen. And I know that every selectman, as I said, is committed to working for, with the seniors here to find a solution to the senior center, whether it be this building, portionally of this building and another site, whether it be, a site we haven't even thought of yet. And there's still work to be done. And I know folks on the Aging and Disability Commission and the Senior Center Subcommittee have put in years of work, and I know that's, as a volunteer myself, that's frustrating for folks because you want resolution. But the good news is we've got so many smart people working on it, like yourself and other folks thinking about it and coming in. And it was, from, again, the tape that I watched and reading the minutes, the outpouring of information and opinion was great. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more opportunity to comment on the Senior Center as we go forward. But again, I can say that at least for the 3 of us sitting here from the Board of Selectmen side, and I know for the other 3, we're definitely committed to making it work for the seniors. So.
And there are so many things that go on at the Senior Center. For instance, yesterday I was here for Super Tuesday, which is an event was sponsored by the Aging and Disability Commission yesterday. But I think that it's good for everybody to be aware of how many people come in just to have lunch, to have, they had bread day, where people can pick up surplus bread products.
Yep.
We have Cheese Day when, for surplus food products. And, it's a need in town that everybody doesn't pay attention to all the time, but it's important, and it's something else that happens, in the course of dealing with the senior center,
Absolutely.
that we should all keep in mind. It's not just about having a billiards room and a new card room.
Right.
Yep.
So
Although that would be nice.
it would be nice, but while we're balancing everybody's needs, we have to.
We've got to balance it.
Well, it's interesting, the Super Tuesday actually precedes me on the aging disability, so it's
Mhm.
got to go back at least 25 years. It
Right.
started out with 5 Super Tuesdays a year, we're now
Really?
up to 7.
7.
We provide lunches to over
Mm-hmm.
100, up to close to 100 seniors.
I was
every
serving
time we
soup
have
yesterday.
so-
It was it was a lot of
That's
people.
fantastic.
And,
That's
it's
great.
nice because we do have sponsors now, and thank
Right.
those
Mhm.
folks that do provide us the funds in order so that we can continue with the Super Tuesday.
And if anyone's interested in sponsoring a Super Tuesday, what
Yes.
should they do?
Well, they could certainly contact myself or Kathy at the Senior Center.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly
Excellent. So, in addition to the senior center and some of the other issues, what else do you have going on in the aging
Well,
disability
actually,
commission?
June has been designated as Handicapped Parking Awareness Month, and this
Mhm.
is the 3rd year in a row that we had asked for that designation.
Yep.
It's a good way to inform the community from an education perspective about
Mhm.
handicapped parking.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, people have a tendency to take advantage of the close parking to their
Right.
location, and which is not necessarily legal.
And it's the just a minute.
Yes,
Is it?
yes, right,
That's
exactly.
it's the just a
60
minute.
60
Is
seconds
just
is
a minute
1
too
minute too
long.
long,
It's
right,
just a minute
exactly,
too
to
long.
park there. And for those of you who know Mike Jennings on the commission, Mike is a wheelchair user and has an adaptable van,
Mhm.
and certainly has no qualms about, I don't want to say confronting people, but talking to them about the appropriateness of handicapped parking.
Well, and in
And,
particular,
that's a
the
great job.
hashtag space.
Yes,
Which
which is
also is a
important
problem,
for,
yeah.
for vans in order to put their lifts out. And he, on more than one occasion, has been unable to do that because the car has parked in those
And those
hash
hash marks that
marks.
go along
And I don't think people understand that. They say,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, I'm just here. I'm not really blocking
Correct,
anybody. I'm not taking a
Mhm.
space." Well, Mike, Mike has said to us and many folks, he comes out, he can't get in his van
Exactly.
until that car comes back from the just a minute trip.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be a minute or an hour, and leaves, and that's a significant issue.
Right.
It is.
And what's nice is that we were able to work with our student liaison on the commission.
Right.
He worked with the high school and made nice posters that we have put up in businesses.
That's great.
And we're working in concert with the Simsbury Police Department. We let them do the enforcement. We'll do
Right.
the education, and it works out to be a
Well,
nice,
I'm sure Mike would like
a
to
nice
help with the
partnership.
enforcement.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't want them.
Right.
And on the enforcement side, Mike worked with Senator Whitcoast to pass legislation, I believe it
Correct.
was last session,
Yes.
Right.
to better enforce and to better
Good.
institute those handicap parking
Correct.
laws to make sure that folks were being held accountable in an appropriate manner. So that was a great example of a local commission working with our
Yes.
state elected officers to enact change. So all good things.
So we have an interesting event going on tomorrow here in Simsbury,
Yes.
which you're
We-
involved in.
We do, and this is a project that is taking place up in the Dorset Crossing on the north end of town. It is a affordable housing, supportive housing, 48 apartments for individuals that have a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. I had, the developer had approached myself early on, and we had saw that it was a really good project and wanted to be part of it going forward. We went to land use boards to speak in support of the project. I also had a conversation with the developer to make 10 of the apartments for persons with other disabilities, and which he agreed to do,
Right.
which was very nice. And so tomorrow is a celebration, if you will, of the construction, and the governor, the lieutenant governor, will be attending. It's going to be from at 11 o'clock up at the location at Dorset Crossing.
Excellent.
So we're looking forward to that, and I think it's a good step forward.
Right.
So we're looking forward to that.
Well, I think, again, as you mentioned, there's a need, for housing, and it's very difficult for people with a specific disability, whether it's an intellectual disability or something like multiple sclerosis, to find appropriate housing,
Right.
that's affordable and they would like to stay close to their families, stay in town, you know, be part of the community, and this is a way to do that, which is great.
And one of the things that we're doing, and actually this fall, again, from the Aging Disability Commission, is that the term being used is special needs housing. We want to get away from that because we
Right.
don't want to label it as such. It's affordable housing for persons with disabilities.
Right.
It's not
It's accessible.
considered
It's,
special needs. So,
Right. It's really becoming a vibrant part of our community up there too,
It
with
is.
the development that's gone on, with you know some of the changes up there. We've got a lot of great businesses up there, so that's it's really exciting to see.
There's a medical facility there, which I
Right.
think is absolutely wonderful.
Right.
Again, I don't specifically know what their medical needs are or anything, but you've got a facility there, and that's got to be a huge help.
yes, and they are going to be receiving support services from the MS Foundation, as well as from FAVAR is going to be providing
Right.
the support services for the other folks that are in the 10 apartments that are going to require it.
Excellent.
Yeah, and in fact, speaking of the North End,
Yes.
there's an association maybe you want to, in the North
The
End of
North
town.
Village
The
Association.
North Village
Yes,
Association.
yes.
Lots of good things.
Yeah, that's another interesting group of us meet monthly at Antonio's. And Steve did a good job of pulling us together. We have decals. I have one on my front door of the Housing Authority that says, welcome to the North Village.
North Village Association.
We're
Who knew?
making, and I was able to, even though the Housing Authority is not a so-called business per
Right.
se, we were able to put in our mission statement that it's also has a housing perspective, not only for the Housing Authority, but also now for the new housing developments up at Dorset Crossing. So there's many businesses in that area that are part of the village, but also we're looking at the housing areas that are also going to be an integral part of the village. And we have some interesting projects going forward that I'm not going to tell you about right now.
Right.
We'll surprise you. We'll have to come
We'll
back.
You'll have to come back.
For a
Big
second
surprise.
episode.
Some
Excellent.
good plans.
Chapter 2.
So lots of great things going on, Ed, and obviously we appreciate all your work and the commission's work, because as we talked about, folks are getting involved in so many different important facets of the community, and the housing, housing that you're referencing that's opening tomorrow is great to see from the Board of Selectmen side, because we were part of that conversation a couple of years ago when we were talking about the tax credits that went with it, and as to see it get through the land use process the way it did, and obviously with some great input, I think, from both land use processes. I think you were on the Planning Commission at the time, you know, and obviously working with the developer, it's another great example of what this town can accomplish with, you know, private and public partnership, lots of people working
Open
together
discussion,
to
good
really
thing.
make
Yeah.
an impactful difference in the town. It helps the tax base. It's not the worst thing in the world to have some building going on up there. And again, I think that's all really great to see as we continue to move things forward together. So well done.
Thank you.
So
I think it's a kind of a symbol of all the different pieces of the puzzle fitting together, whether it's social services or the senior center or the senior housing, and it's just good to see, you know, that diversity is truly there, and it's a very good thing for all of us.
Absolutely.
Well, the north end of town is one of those areas that's in transition now, and I think we have to pay special attention to what's going on up there, because, you know, as you said, there's a lot of businesses that have come in, out, you know. Now we're looking at development, you know, where the big Y is and all that are coming.
Yes.
still coming.
Still coming.
Of course, transportation is another issue
Transportation.
that we have a subcommittee on the commission to handle. And transportation has always been a big issue, regardless of where I've been, and I've been working with people with disabilities for over 30 years, and different locations around the state. And transportation is always a big issue, as it is here.
Yes.
And it would be nice to, and again, it goes with the North Village concept, that when the big Y comes in, and if there's a pad at Dorset Crossing for a pharmacy, and there's also a potential for a bank up in that area, that again, it gives that village feel to it, where the residents can walk a very short distance to do shopping and to go to the businesses and the restaurants that are in the North Village. Not that they can't go downtown.
Right.
To the center, because we want to emphasize that they can come into the center of town and do that as well. But it would be nice to have more consistent transportation availability for folks in order to do that.
Agreed, yeah, and as we revisit back to the senior center conversation, obviously that's a big piece of it, is in terms of location and access, and we've talked about economic development as part of it, but it is we really do need to focus on the transportation piece and the accessibility piece, and how does that fit with the business community? Because we've talked to many of these businesses, and I'm pointing right outside here where we are. There's not necessarily adequate parking during peak senior center use now with business needs, and how do we work together with the business community? So that's great that folks in the North Village are thinking about those things and focusing on that issue, because it's something we all need to focus on, and we all. Most folks kind of drive towards the south end, towards Avon, or to get over the mountain to go to Hartford for work, and not everybody gets up there unless you're going to Harvest for breakfast on the weekend. You get up there going for a skate at ISCC, so it's not everybody travels up there as often, but it's great, all the things that are going, and of course we all stop by Neckers.
Oh yes,
Right.
absolutely.
We wave to you from across the street.
Yeah.
So we've only got a couple minutes left here, but Ed, anything else you want to share with us before we depart?
Actually, we do have a program, the Aging Disability Commission. Every year we provide picnic in the park, and it's going to be held on Saturday, August 23rd at St. Catherine of Siena Church. It's another one of our programs that we provide for persons with disabilities and their families, and traditionally we have over 100 folks take part in that. Even I've been on the grill for the last 8 or 9 years, and I still come back, so that means I'm
Ed and I were flipping burgers together last year.
That's
But the nice thing about that event is that they invite all of the group home residents.
Oh, excellent.
And they come with their staff members, and they have a band.
yes.
Excellent.
There's dancing, and it's really great.
It's a real nice event.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, and again, Ed, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you
My
coming
pleasure.
out and
Thank
for
you,
all the
Sean.
work that you do for this town.
Thank you.
So, and that wraps up another edition of Community Conversations. Thanks so much, and have a great week.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.